This Thursday, the legend returns.
Derek Zoolander.
Zoolander.
Why didn't we do this sooner?
I miss not knowing things with you.
Ben Stiller.
We're back.
Owen Wilson.
Yeah!
Will Ferrell.
It's like a dream, but for real.
Penelope Cruz and Kristen Wiig.
And Milesy.
Spend Valentine's Day with Zoolander.
It's like a blind date, only neither of us is blind. Unless you are blind, in which case you can't hear my voice anyway.
Zoolander 2, directed by Ben Stiller. Starts Thursday at 7 p.m. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13.
Blog Talk Radio.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Bill Martinez Live, a program about current events, our culture, our values, our politics, and our future. And now, Bill Martinez.
We better stop. Hey, what's that sound?
So what year are you here?
I'm a freshman at University of Oregon.
Why aren't you at a toga party right now? So what's your major here?
Women and Gender Studies.
Ah, I studied women in college too. Why do you like Bernie?
He's a great congressman.
He's a senator.
He seems to have a lot of integrity, more so than Senator Clinton.
That's not saying much. What policies do you support of Bernie Sanders?
That's so hard, pinpoint.
Here we go again.
I think my favorite of his would probably be his healthcare policy.
If you think health care is expensive now, wait till it's free.
I really like his redistribution of wealth policy.
How is Bernie going to accomplish all of these redistributive schemes?
Making it more efficient and not losing any... he would be able to put pressure on Congress to pass it.
Obama put pressure on Congress to pass his agenda, and they said no.
Definitely like the free education thing. That's always a plus.
How is Bernie going to make college free?
I believe he's taking taxes from... I can't remember.
I like her. I really like her.
I support his, I don't know.
Isn't it weird, though, when you have a kid and all your dreams and hopes just go right out the window?
I think Bernie Sanders provides, the most opportunities for underrepresented people, especially queer people.
You're not allowed to say queer. That's offensive.
Oh, I am queer, so...
Oh.
Remarkable.
What is Bernie going to do about the climate?
We need anything that we can get, and whatever you want to do.
I'm sorry, I can't understand a word that you're saying.
I like how he's proposing more of a revolution.
Are you a revolutionary?
Oh, I'm a revolutionary.
Don't overthrow me.
I won't.
Bernie wants to raise taxes on the wealthy big time.
Great. Sounds good with me.
Now, if you raise my taxes,
okay,
how am I going to afford to dress so nicely?
I would encourage thrift stores. That's where, I get most of my outfits.
That's a very interesting line of reasoning.
It's not fair to have people that are just filthy rich, you know?
Isn't being filthy rich the American dream?
Yeah, I don't think that is anymore.
What would you like to see the top tax rate as?
50.
The government wastes all our money on pork and corruption now. Why should we give them more of our money?
What did you say?
Snap out of it!
Let's maybe, as a country, decide that we have better intentions to spend our money than on war.
If we don't fund the military, how are we going to kill ISIS?
I think the biggest way to defeat ISIS is to simply have a conversation.
What happens if ISIS beheads you at the negotiating table? Now, Bernie says he's a socialist.
I definitely think that it's not as terrifying as everybody thinks it is.
I like that. I think we actually need more of that.
They tried socialism in Venezuela. Didn't really work that well there.
They have socialism in Sweden, and it's working out pretty well.
Did Sweden put a man on the moon?
No, but did any other nation?
Yeah, America.
Yes.
Nerd alert!
Wow, guys. What do you say? I mean, it's just like, hey, these are the future leaders, and these are the people that are voting. Socialism, it seems like a good idea until you're living it. And, and then all your dreams and ambitions are thwarted because, hey, look, you've got to take care of the greater good of everybody. And you got to understand that you're not just working for yourself or your family. You're working for nondescript families, kind of a little bit like what we're doing now in 21st century America, right?
These people have nothing that they have to pay for, worry about other than themselves right now.
Exactly.
It's just themselves. If you all of a sudden have a family, mortgage payment, all these other things that you have to worry about, all of a sudden giving up 50% of your income, that doesn't seem very cool. But if all I'm making is $200 a week, well, who cares?
Well, hey, we just need to get those A's that they're getting and spread them out, and then everybody gets C's, right? That's kind of like the idea a little bit. Maybe they get a little taste that way.
The new American dream.
I just think of the parents that are paying for all this. We've got more coming up. Stay with us.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Getting America back on track. Bill Martinez live.
Well, hello, America. 6 minutes after the top of the hour. I am Bill Martinez. We're live coming at you, and live from New Hampshire is Michael Dougherty. Michael has been with us many times. It's always good to have him with us. He is right there in the cold and in the midst of all the fun stuff. Michael, how are we doing, buddy?
It's cold, but there's so much hot air flying around here, it's actually tolerable.
It's kind of making it okay. Michael, of course, senior writer for Cyber Defense Magazine, board member of the Snoop Wall and Powerhouse cyber security firm, author of The Devil Inside the Beltway, the shocking expose of the U.S. government's surveillance overreach into cybersecurity, medicine, and small business. Well, we've got the small towns at midnight checked in, and we got a little bit of distribution. I'm not sure that tells us much. Senator Bernie Sanders emerged as the Democrats' big winner in the wee hours, 17 votes in total, while Hillary Clinton received 9.
Not a surprise given what I've seen here, but this is a little bit of a throwback in time. I feel like I'm on my old college campus in Ann Arbor, where everyone's still there and they've aged.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not sure they've got their finger on the pulse of the United States, but they sure do have the finger on their pulse of socialist people in New Hampshire.
Exactly. Well, on the Republican side, conversely, we got Senator Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, and Governor John Kasich of Ohio. Each had 9 votes in those three small towns. Dixville, Notch, Millsfield, and Hart's location, right?
Yeah, and that does not surprise me because I'll tell you, you look at things. People, this is a notorious, I ain't telling you until I step in that booth state. There's only a third of people that the ground game of Cruz has been most impressive. And then you've got Trump trying to stir the pot by now resorting to vulgarity. Mm-hmm. So this is quite a zoo. And I think it's almost like watching Roadkill sometimes. And I actually can't wait till this one's over because I bet there's bizarre. It's just amazing to watch. It's a little exhausting and it's invigorating at the same time. This morning we've had a Radio Row. We've had Carlos Vienna stroll in and the 2 Trump sons, and Marco just left a minute ago, and he just created a huge buzz. And, it's pretty amazing. And the socialists are sitting here waiting for Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen to show up any moment.
Why not? Hey, and I know the people in the Granite State are absolutely war weary. They feel like they've been in a war with their TV sets totally carpet bombed by all the political commercials. They're ready to get it done and over with, aren't they?
It is. incredible. I mean, if you have a landline, you're going to rip it out after this one, because between TV, radio, and landline, you can't go anywhere. And we really, all the politicos here have taken over the town, and people couldn't be more gracious. But you want to understand, I've got a friend that does a lot of door-to-door campaigning, and says, everyone's very gracious except the Trump people are door slammers. They're very adamant and a little touchy, and they just don't want to talk about it. So,
oh, really?
It's really pretty incredible.
Is that mostly the third that have made up their mind?
I think I don't know. I mean, this guy is out there for Cruz, and he just said it was an interesting couple of days. And you got to hand it someone that drives 8 hours to stump through a bunch of snow to bang on doors. I mean, that's the other great thing about this process. It's just in New Hampshire, it makes it so grassroots. It's just so right there, still. Man-to-man combat.
Yeah, kind of right off the heels of Iowa, where it is the same way, Michael, right? That, people want you to be in their living room having a latte, maybe not a latte, but nonetheless, sitting down there in the living room and saying, hi, folks, how you doing, kissing the babies. And Donald Trump says, hey, look, I'm just going to hover overhead here with a bullhorn and speak down to my peoples.
That was actually one local woman who's a former state senator I was talking about half an hour ago, and she said that's the one thing she thinks that Trump really she doesn't think he's going to do as well as that they're predicting with the spread, because he just refused to do the one-on-ones or because in New Hampshire it's sort of look, that's the way we do it here. You don't turn down a meeting. We want to have the man in the room and size him up, whether it's 2 people or 100 people. And the Trump people just wouldn't show up. The first question was, what's the size of the crowd? What's the size of the crowd? So, they're marketing and hustle on steroids. Yeah. And I have to say that one that's gone kind of stealth is Cruz. I mean, I haven't seen any of his circuits here on radio or him, whereas Hillary is got a load of congressmen people. I actually had a very nice conversation with Congressman Himes from Connecticut, who's on the Intelligence Committee, and it really – a sharp guy that understands bipartisan involvement, but I can't say that I've seen a lot of for Cruz. He's out on the street.
How's Hillary doing in light? We're going to be talking with Ed Klein a little bit later on about the FBI probe. The FBI on the eve of New Hampshire saying, "Hey, look we're still on. The deal is on. We're still pursuing. In fact, we've asked." Huma Abedin and Hillary's closest circle to come in. So the investigation, though earlier they were hesitant to say they were going to, do much, they just wanted to keep a arm's length away from getting into it. Now made the announcement officially that the investigation is on.
That's a very bad sign for her, because the FBI and the CIA, they're notorious for not making announcements unless every I is dotted and T is crossed. And what I have is cognitive dissonance with her supporters. It's very interesting to see the young people that are on the left run with Sanders and not her. So who's on her side are people that have been on her side for 20 years, and those people have got, they're triple blinded right now. They've got their talking points and they ignore what the white elephant in the room. And a vote is a vote, But you almost have to look at it like the shark that it is. They're just relentless in their spin. So they've written off New Hampshire already and off the next thing. And, what is she supposed to do? I mean, I think that's the only choice she has.
Exactly. Well, Michael, we going into New Hampshire, we thought Trump number one. Maybe Rubio was getting momentum until the debate the other night. How bad has this hurt him? Are you sensing it on the ground?
Spun it right back, because look, they're in a way they're all mauling for number 2. You notice it's like Trump's still out there trumping, vocalizing, sending his children out. They were all over Radio Row this morning. I love Dad. I love Dad. I love Dad. Cruz is just sucking it up and hitting the ground. Hopefully that CNN battle's gone away, and then the rest of them now are like fighting for a piece of bloody meat. So you've got Rubio battling Bush and Christie, who really took deep. And then Carly is stomping around here. She's just pissed off, and she's got every right to be at ABC, but she is just mad. And she's pretty aggressive about, get out and make a statement and vote for me. This is outrageous. And interesting. I mean, ABC bumping her off that debate. I don't think anyone really doesn't think she shouldn't be mad.
No, and people are saying, don't be surprised that John Kasich, he's had a good ground game there. He's put everything into this, and we'll see how that plays out. Michael Doherty reporting live from New Hampshire. Stay warm, Michael. Hey, it's Bill Martinez with you at 14 minutes after the top of the hour. More coming up right after this.
How important is it for you to take your medications at the right time of day? Very important, according to today's AARP Health Tip. More after this.
Looking to save money on Medicare Part D? Switch your prescriptions to Walgreens. With copays as low as $1, you could be looking at some real savings. And now you can preview the cost of your scripts before you fill with Walgreens' new Medicare prescription copay quote. And that's kind of a big deal. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Quote subject to change and available only for select Part D plans. $1 copay applies to Tier 1 generics.
Some drugs are best used in the morning. Others should be taken in the evening or right before going to bed. There's a science to timing drugs to achieve the greatest benefit with the lowest risk of unpleasant side effects. It's called drug chronotherapy. So never change the timing of your drugs without first discussing it with your doctor or pharmacist. For more, go to aarp.org.
You're fired. According to the Small Business Administration, 75% of small businesses plan to eliminate jobs or reduce workers' hours to part-time. You're fired. According to Gallup, the unemployment rate recently jumped to nearly 9%, and the underemployment rate hit a staggering 17.9%. You're fired. 1 out of 3 young adults and 1 out of 2 recent college graduates are underemployed. Hello, I'm Keith Abel, a pharmacist and a home business entrepreneur. In 2011, I became one of those statistics myself. Instead of looking for another job in corporate America, I joined Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. We're creating steady incomes for ourselves and would like to show you how to do the same. If you want to supplement your current income, replace your income, so you don't have to become one of the statistics, then give me a call toll-free at 866-257-3105, 866-257-3105. You're fired. Don't wait till you hear those words. Start creating an extra income today. 866-257-3105.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
Winter has just begun, and are you already tired of being cold? How would you like to never be cold again? This is Dale with Fortress Clothing, and I'm here to tell you, you will never be cold again with Fortress. If you're tired of freezing your butt off, elk hunting, sitting in a tree stand, deer hunting, winter camping, fishing, ice fishing, no longer fear the cold. If you snowmobile, ski, snowboard, get Fortress. Sledding with the kids, shoveling the walks, shopping, or if you or your spouse get cold feet at home, get Fortress. If you're stuck outside working in the cold or find yourself in an emergency situation, get our winter bug-out bag and you will never be cold again. Fortress is the answer, so quit complaining and go to FortressClothing.com. It's a mid-layer garment that goes with anything you want to wear. Enter coupon code RADIO and get 20% off any item. Go now while we still have inventory. FortressClothing.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At ContractorExam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, ContractorExam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.ContractorExam.com today.
You've reached Bill Martinez Live. Bill Martinez Live.
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are a masterpiece. Did you know that? You really are. I mean, think about it. It's just about 19 minutes after top of the hour. I am Bill Martinez. For more information on the show, BillMartinezLive.com. We come to you every Monday through Friday in over 270 markets across these United States and on shortwave around the world as well. And we thank you for being a part of the solution and not an agitated part of the problem. Okay, we need some solution time here. We've had plenty of problems to deal with, and here to help us out is Brendan Bordelon. Brendan, of course, is a political reporter for National Review, and it's always good to have him with us. Brendan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Bill. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful. Great to have you here. I mean, you're suffering for us. You're out there in New Hampshire, the Granite State, where all the buzz is about, and the voting is underway. Started at midnight. We got three of the small little communities there already casting their votes. But what's the buzz that you're hearing right now, Brennan?
Well, yeah. So I stayed up for one of those communities. Dixville Notch up in northern New Hampshire, and it looks like it's on the Republican side. Kasich eked out a win with Donald Trump. I don't think we're going to see that statewide today. That would be surprising. And then on the Democratic side, Sanders shut out Clinton by 4-0. And I think that's going to be a little more indicative of what we see today going into New Hampshire in the broader votes, because Sanders has been leading Clinton huge in almost every poll. I mean, I think the best polls for Clinton put Sanders up by 9 points, and then some of the polls have him up by almost 20 points. I don't think the Clinton campaign is going to get a win here today. I think they know that. If you look at some of the things they've been saying recently, I mean, they had one of their circuits out yesterday, and they were like, well, everybody counted out the Denver Broncos, too, last night, but, they had something else in mind. So I mean, they know they're the underdogs here, and I don't think they're expecting a win, but, you never know. We'll see what happens.
Is the sentiment so anti-Clinton in New Hampshire, or is it more just absolutely pro-Sanders?
That's a good question.
Does that make sense?
The Clinton camp, yeah, absolutely. The Clinton camp would want you to think that this is a neighbor thing. Vermont is right next door. Sanders is the senator from Vermont, and New Hampshire is a neighborly state, and then they love their guy next door. That's really not what I'm seeing. I mean, so in one thing, if you think about it this way, the New Hampshire governor, the New Hampshire senator, the Democratic New Hampshire senator, the Democratic New Hampshire congresswoman, all of them are supporting Clinton over Sanders. Actually, the Vermont governor is supporting Clinton over Sanders. And so it doesn't really seem like this is like a neighborhood issue, right? Because all of these other establishment politicians from the neighborhood are backing Clinton in a major way. When you talk to Sanders voters, it's not so much like, oh yeah, well, he's the guy next door. I've known him forever. Right. Even next door, he was kind of a low-profile guy until maybe a year or so ago. Exactly. I really think it is much more concern about Clinton's record, her trustworthiness, I think particularly on Wall Street. And as much as the Democrats don't want to make this an issue, the emails are coming up. They're still coming up. People are still talking about them. She got a few questions about them in a town hall at a college campus a few days ago. And so I think the people are looking for authenticity. They're looking for somebody who means what they say. I think on both sides of the aisle, it's kind of anti-establishment thing. And Clinton is kind of the opposite of that in so many ways. So I think that's what you're seeing.
Well, Brendan, I think that was my thought, is that the visceral underlying motivator in this whole deal is more anti-establishment. And you can thank Donald Trump to a big degree for this, because he really kind of opened the gate on this thing. And, and it's like, even though Hillary would say, look, I'm a woman, how can you think I'm establishment? Well, so she's trying to back away from this. So she even senses that the anti-establishment mood is there, and it's so visceral, then it's a decision of, okay, am I a Democrat or Republican? So if I'm a Democrat, I got to go anti-establishment, and my only alternative is Bernie Sanders unless Mike Bloomberg enters in. And on the Republican side, I got to look at Cruz or Trump, And then they're still trying to figure out, okay, do we put Rubio on the establishment side or what? And because he tried to be work with the other side of the aisle, then somehow he's aligned with the establishment, I guess. So I don't know the way they're parsing this out, but it seems to be, to your point, that the whole establishment issue is the visceral response of the voting Republic right now.
Yeah. I mean, on the Republican side, I think it's very powerful. There's something else going on the Democratic side, and that's just what looks like this massive influx of young voters that you really haven't seen in either party in a long time, and it's kind of throwing everybody off guard, especially in New Hampshire. I mean, I talked to some more establishment Democrats, some state senators, some people, out of the governor's office and stuff, and they're like, we have no idea why Sanders is so far ahead. These have to be just new voters that we've never even talked to before, because we know our voters. We know that, and we're like, we know the older voters that are supporting Clinton. We talk to them. And so these have to be just this influx of new college students coming in, and we'll see if they actually vote today. But I got a feeling that at least some of them are going to. But so there's that dynamic as well, especially with Sanders. And I think, I don't know. I mean, that's hard to figure out why they're all going for a 74-year-old man that harangues them about millionaires and billionaires. That's kind of weird. But for whatever reason, I think young people look at him as kind of like a goofy uncle that they can know that's going to tell the truth and that they really trust. And when they look at Clinton, they just don't believe anything that comes out of her mouth. So, but I think the young dynamic is also really driving the upending of the Democratic side of this race.
Isn't he a bit professorial, though, too, that they may perceive? I mean, they've been re-indoctrinated for the last 4 years, some of these kids in these college campuses with this anti-American sentiment that capitalism is dead. And, I mean, this couldn't be a better dream for Barack Obama, who's been running this country based on, I say academic theory. He brought in a lot of theoretical ideas. Why can't we talk to these guys that want to blow us up and they hate us? And all this other possibility without the, just almost in the face of empirical evidence, just saying, hey, I'm going to ignore that. We're going to run this country based on theory. And so here we are 7 years down the road, and the big question is, how's that working for you?
Yeah, it's an interesting analogy, but Sanders, for one thing, he almost never focuses on foreign policy. He almost really doesn't want to talk about foreign policy. But when it comes to stylistically, Obama totally has that professorial thing down. He goes, well, on the one hand, we have this. On the other hand, we have this. We have to weigh the pros and the cons. Sanders, I mean, there's no vacillation in Sanders. He is 100% certain that what he believes is right and correct and will work. And he doesn't really, pussyfoot around it. He really, really, when he's giving speeches, he believes it. He's yelling it. He's not trying to, weigh things back and forth. And it almost has like a preacher vibe to it, because he says the same stump speech over and over and over again to the point where. Is he Rubio now?
He's become Marco Rubio robotic now?
Yeah.
Is that going to be now the accusation?
Yeah. No, I don't think so, because he's still got a pretty sharp, he can think on his feet when he needs to.
Right.
But he has these lines, he'll say, enough is enough. And when he says that, the audience has heard this enough times, they'll actually say it along with him. So it's almost got this like revival style thing going on. I mean, it's weird. I mean, you have thousands of people in these things, and they're all repeating his speeches back to him. So it's not. It's almost the opposite of a professorial vibe. That makes sense. Because
no, that does make sense. You're right there. So you're seeing this. I thought it was interesting in terms of the demographic. Like you say, here's these young kids, and the voice of the younger generation for so long, Gloria Steinem, and this women's lib kind of freedom fight rhetoric and that. And Madeleine Albright. I mean, all that stuff was set aside, and it's like we can't relate to that. You guys are old school. I found that to be quite interesting as well, the way they ignored them and the flashback that came on them. Brendan Bordelon has been with us, a political reporter for the National Review. Brendan, stay warm out there, buddy. Appreciate the update. It's 28 minutes after the top of the hour, America.
How important is it for you to take your medications at the right time of day? Very important, according to today's AARP Health Tip. More after this.
Looking to save money on Medicare Part D? Switch your prescriptions to Walgreens. With copays as low as $1, you could be looking at some real savings. And now you can preview the cost of your scripts before you fill with Walgreens' new Medicare prescription copay quote. And that's kind of a big deal. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Quote subject to change and available only for select Part D plans. $1 copay applies to Tier 1 generics.
Some drugs are best used in the morning. Others should be taken in the evening or right before going to bed. There's a science to timing drugs to achieve the greatest benefit with the lowest risk of unpleasant side effects. It's called drug chronotherapy. So never change the timing of your drugs without first discussing it with your doctor or pharmacist. For more, go to aarp.org.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest price filtration systems in every size for incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency. Get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook. Supernatural Silver.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
You're listening to Bill Martinez Live.
I think that's what they need in New Hampshire, a little conga line to warm them up. What do you think, guys, huh? Oh, how much fun
That'd
is that?
Nice.
Yeah, why not? Hey, you got to stay warm out there while you go to vote and get the big conga line going on in the voting line there. I mean, why not? Let's open it up. I mean, if we're going to go for Sanders over Hillary and, and the way things are rolling out there.
Go all out.
Hey, you might as well. Let's conga line it up. And the person to lead the conga line, I can't think any better than the Good News Girl herself, Samantha. Hey, Samantha Mills. How you doing, lady?
Good morning. I would love to be the conga line. That sounds like so much fun.
Hey, well, sometimes I'll tell you, if anything will change your attitude real quick, you get in a conga line. You can't be depressed in a conga line.
That's true. That is very true.
I'm just telling you. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to go to Sam's Corner on BillMartinezLive.com, and she's got all these viral videos. Bless her heart. I mean, she just checks it out, and she's scouring, the Internet and anything that she can, and, of course, even getting your tips, so you can feel free to drop her a line. Say, hey, Sam, I got a great viral video that you need to be aware of. And, Sam, tell everybody your email address so they can be in touch with you and tell you, how they can get this information to you.
Sure. It's samscorner.bml, like Bill Martinez Live, @gmail.com.
Hey, it's just like that. You can talk to her. Okay. Sam's Corner. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
samscorner.bml@gmail.com. So shoot me a line, and I'd love to hear any stories that you have, even if it's your own story and maybe not already, published it on the, if it's just a viral story that you haven't maybe seen in a newspaper yet or something like that. I'd love to hear it. So.
Well, you've got 4 great viral videos, and one that I had caught earlier myself was the mother-daughter reunion, 82 years after the fact. Wow, what a story, Sam.
No, isn't that insane? Because you would think, 82 years later, that has to be at least close to a world record, if it's not a world record.
Right.
For the longest time between a mother-daughter reunion. Now, Lena Pierce is 96 years old right now. So back in 1933, she was 14 when she gave birth to a little girl up in Long Island, New York. And the little girl's name was Eva May. So Eva May was adopted out by her parents, and she was raised as a single child. And her mom passed away when she was 23, and her dad passed away when she was just a few years later. So she's been on her own for a long time. And she spent 50 years looking for her birth mother, and she finally found her, and she was still alive. So she'd gone on Ancestry.com and called the hospital she was born in. She finally found out who her mother was, and Lena and Eva May got to reunite after 82 years. Is that the most crazy story you've ever heard? It's just, and what a blessing.
What do you say to someone after 82 years,
Oh, my gosh. Well, she said she had always thought about her and worried about her. And, I'm just so glad that she was still alive and able to talk to her daughter. And, what a blessing that her mom's still healthy and, a very vital woman, she's 96 years old, but seems to be in very good health. And it's not just finding her mother, but, her mother is a mother herself of other children, and then she's got great-grandchildren, and so there's a whole extended family that this woman now has that she wouldn't have had before. And
and the thing is, I think of, Sam, is the questions that this daughter must have had all her life in not having a direct connection with her mother, because there's certain things I've always maintained. This is why, God designed us for families and for mothers and fathers to be involved, because there's certain things about that child that only the mother can relate to. And certain things that the father can relate to, because it's of each of them respectively. And, because sometimes, the mom would say, oh, God, I can't believe this, I don't understand this about the child. And then the dad goes, I understand why that's a problem. That's pretty academic for me, And this offers a sense of balance in raising the child to understand that, they're not so uniquely different and misunderstood. But when you are going through life without a mother, without any biological input and reason, understanding of who you are, I imagine the revelation that this daughter continues to go through, even though her mother's 96 years old, has just got to be remarkable.
Oh, absolutely. I hope they get to spend a lot of time together. And, it seemed like her whole family was excited to meet her and see her. And, how much peace must it bring to the mother after all these years to know that she got to see her daughter again? She'd probably given up hope of ever seeing her little girl again. And just what a blessing all the way around.
Exactly. And I imagine the immediate connection that those two had, even though it may be a little awkward at first, but this sense of, you're home, you're with mom. And that's a real special story. This next one you have is a dad telling other fathers, respect the mother of your child, in this viral Facebook post. Tell us about that.
Okay, so this is actually a dad out in the UK. His name's Tony M. And last month he posted a picture of his fiancée, Charlotte Sperry, and she was sleeping next to the couple's 9-month-old child. Well, he goes on in the story, and he's saying sometimes he just doesn't give credit where credit is due. He says it's easy to think that she spends all day, sitting around with the baby, watching TV, and he's like, but I know that's not true. She wakes up and she works hard. When she's hungry, she makes sure the baby's fed first. And he's just talking about all the different things she does all day. And he's like, when the baby finally takes a nap, she doesn't get a nap. She has to clean. And he's like, she does this nonstop, and I couldn't appreciate her more. And it has gone viral. It's been shared about almost 50,000 times already. Oh, wow. And, I think people are just going crazy for this because he's really valuing. It's easy. I think it's easy for a lot of people not to value what a stay-at-home mom does. Mm-hmm. Because it's hard to, if you don't see what's happening, it just seems like, especially if they do a really good job, it just seems like it's so easy. Right. They make it look easy. And
I'll tell you, in my generation, Sam, most moms stayed at home, Today, I think it's in America, it's probably about 3%. I know it's less than 5%. You know, where you have stay-at-home moms. So it's quite a privilege, and that's neat that this father could understand and appreciate the gift of motherhood and what his wife was providing for their child. Now, in the interest of time here, I want to cover this next one. It's kind of a good Samaritan story where a man makes the craziest decision of his life to help a complete stranger. Tell us about that, if you would.
Okay, so this is Eugene Yoon, and he's actually from Northern California. And, you know, he was actually he felt the calling for a couple months before he decided to do this. And this is the crazy thing. So he knew that he wanted to help somebody. He wanted to do a big act of kindness, like a life-altering act of kindness for a stranger, but he didn't know who and he didn't know what. He just felt that calling from God. And when he was on Facebook one day, he saw a video of Arthur Renowicki, which was a paraplegic, and he had gotten shot about 8 years ago when he was mugged, and he vowed one day he would walk again. So when Eugene saw this, he was like, okay, this is the guy. This is what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna do it because I have a film degree, not a medical degree, but I'm going to make sure that this guy walks again. This is the guy that I'm called to help. So what Eugene ended up doing was hiking from California to the northern border of the United States, right by Canada. And as he went, he would post videos and try to raise money for this device that was actually $80,000, and it would help Eugene be able to walk again. It's like an existential skeleton. So you can watch the video online and see kind of how it works, but it's helping people walk again. So he just needed $80,000. Yep, and he actually raised it by the time he got to Washington, D.C. And
unbelievable.
Isn't that crazy? And him
what a
and
sweet
kind of like
story.
Brothers.
Sam, about 30 seconds here real quick. I mean, in the age of, bullying and things that can go on in classrooms, this is a sweet story of first graders learning sign language. Tell us real quick. You got 30 seconds.
Okay, so Shay out in Bosnia actually is deaf, and he just started with first grade class. His whole class learned to speak sign language just so they could communicate with him, and it's really changing his life and their life as well. So I always thought sign language would be an amazing thing to be able to teach in school. And
then for them to do that for their deaf classmate, how special is that? Samantha Mills, the Good News Girl on Bill Martinez Live. Go to BillMartinezLive.com, and you can watch all the viral videos yourself. It's 19 before the top of the hour.
My dad was 59 when he collapsed from a heart attack late last year. Just this past August was when we spread his ashes on the St. Croix River. I loved my dad, but boy was he stubborn. He hadn't been to the doctor in over 25 years. His excuse? He simply couldn't afford it. He wasn't a rich man by any means. At less than $107 per month, LibertyOnCall.org would have been the perfect alternative for my father. Don't wait. Go to LibertyOnCall.org right now, for not just your sake, but for the sake of your loved ones. Again, that's LibertyOnCall.org.
How important is it for you to take your medications at the right time of day? Very important, according to today's AARP Health Tip. More after this.
Looking to save money on Medicare Part D? Switch your prescriptions to Walgreens. With copays as low as $1, you could be looking at some real savings. And now you can preview the cost of your scripts before you fill with Walgreens' new Medicare prescription copay quote. And that's kind of a big deal. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Quote subject to change and available only for select Part D plans. $1 copay applies to Tier 1 generics.
Some drugs are best used in the morning. Others should be taken in the evening or right before going to bed. There's a science to timing drugs to achieve the greatest benefit with the lowest risk of unpleasant side effects. It's called drug chronotherapy. So never change the timing of your drugs without first discussing it with your doctor or pharmacist. For more, go to AARP.org.
Removing bad taste and odor from your drinking water is easy. Removing the bad stuff you don't taste is what ProPure does best. Water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure countertop, inline, gravity, and household water filtration products. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or call 800-544-3533.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 Pain Hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
If survivalist housing has been in your plans, get ready. We're bringing our Timberline Range Camps to you February 6th through 14th, the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Get an up-close look at some of our most popular Timberline models, or visit survivalistscamps.com to pre-order a camp. We'll bring it to the show and save you the cost of shipping. It's the perfect time to get that camp you've wanted. Go to survivalistscamps.com, then plan on joining us at the Great American Outdoor Show in February in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Bill Martinez, live.
Tambourine with a silver jingle, and we will sail away on the wings of love into the night. Say, never have I known it when it felt so good. Never have I knew it when I knew I could. Never have I done it when it looked so right. Leaving Louisiana in the broad daylight.
It's always a great day here at Bill Martinez Live.
Hey, why not? Given the opportunity, let's make it a great day, huh? 14 before the top of the hour. Welcome back, America. I'm Bill Martinez, and if you want to drop me an email, by the way, bill@billmartinezlive.com. It comes to me direct. Thank you for joining in on the good fight to get this country back on track. Ed Klein is with us, the one and only, yes, the author of Unlikable, The Problem with Hillary. Ed, always good to have you with us. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Bill, great to be back with you. Thanks for having me on your show.
Well, your column that you wrote is something you've been telling us about for quite a while, and that is the FBI was going to keep the pressure on, and it was told to Hillary's inner circle, Uma Abedin, Cheryl Mills, and Sullivan, that they were going to be testifying under oath, and now the FBI has just come out and said, we didn't want to say anything before, but it is basically official. The FBI is, in fact, investigating Hillary.
And it's ongoing, and nobody knows, including even FBI Director James Comey himself, according to my sources, when this is going to conclude, because it seems that every day they're turning up new information, and it's going, and it's spreading not only to Hillary's emails, but also to contributions to the Clinton Foundation while she was Secretary of State, and possible lying under oath to the FBI or suborning perjury among her assistants, all of which, by the way, are federal offenses that can send you to the Hooskow.
Yes, exactly. Well, you know, Ed, and again, we've had this conversation, does the FBI, is this government, are we the people, ready for the truth, as Jack Nicholson would scream out at us, because so much is on the line here in terms of you've got a presidential candidate off and rolling. I mean, we've got the second primary well underway today. And, do they really want to do this? And how much interference can one Barack Obama give her in light of past arrangements and deals that maybe he made with one Bill Clinton?
Well, it's very interesting. It's very complicated. Barack Obama, from the beginning, did not want to see the Clintons in the White House, which I've reported in many different places, including a book called Blood Feud, the Clintons versus the Obamas. But given the choice between Bernie Sanders or Republicans on the one hand, or Hillary on the other, Barack Obama's kind of stuck with Hillary. But if the FBI turns up, which I'm sure they will, by the way, indictable offenses and recommends to the Attorney General, who is appointed by Obama, that she should be indicted, it places Obama at the tail end of his presidency in a very, very dicey situation. What is he going to do? If he drags his feet, it'll I'm sure prompt a number of resignations in the FBI in protest, become a huge scandal. But if he lets it go ahead, then we've got a Democratic candidate who's running under indictment, which has never happened in American history.
Well, and how does she take the oath of office behind bars?
in a striped pant, or no, in an orange jumpsuit, right?
Right, exactly. Well, I guess what you do is you do the perp walk first, and then you do the inauguration. Is that the deal?
Well,
I don't know. This is bizarre.
They do say, some of my sources, that it's possible, although I don't know. Let us chew on this thought, that if it's recommended that she be indicted, that before even the indictment comes down, Obama has the legal right to pardon her in advance.
Yes. Right.
He could do that. He could pardon her. He could pardon all her assistants. He could do all of that. But look what happened to Jerry Ford when he pardoned Richard Nixon.
Exactly.
He lost the election and went down in flames, and Obama's legacy would be stained forever if he did that.
Yeah, without a doubt, just like the way, as you say, Jerry Ford's was as well. And as far as the Democratic Party is concerned, President Obama is in a lose-lose proposition here. I mean, he tells Lynch, "Well, you got to go and follow through with this." This absolutely puts the Democratic Party into chaos because they're not ready for a socialist standard bearer, are they?
They sure aren't. And yet, it was very interesting. I saw a tweet, I should say, by David Axelrod, who was the architect of Obama's 2008-2012. And he says, and I'm reading from his tweet, when the exact same problems crop up in separate campaigns, meaning 2008 now, with different staff, at what point do the principals say, hey, maybe it's us, meaning it's the Clintons, not their staff, that are causing her all these problems with Bernie Sanders and allowing him to practically beat her in Iowa and certainly going to beat her in New Hampshire.
What does this say about the Democratic Party where it is today?
I think that is the bottom line, and I think you're putting your finger right on it. It's bereft. It doesn't have any candidates. It's run out of ideology. It's run out of ideas. It's run out of younger people on the bench, and it's stuck with kind of a 1960s mentality, which is free stuff for everybody, and let's make government bigger and bigger and bigger. It's very interesting that it was Bill Clinton who in the late 1980s and early 1990s took the Democratic Party away from the far left McGovernite direction it was going in and pulled it back to the center, or center left anyway.
Right, exactly.
And now his wife is running as far left as she can possibly run in order to not be outflanked by Bernie Sanders. The whole party is just flipped way over to the left. Now socialism isn't even a dirty word anymore.
Exactly. Well, I mean, also to the point that you've got the DNC chair and even the Secretary of State, former Senator Clinton, not even able to define the difference between a socialist and a Democrat. I mean, Debbie Wasserman Schultz is still in knots over that question.
It's so true. And asked by MSNBC, no less. I mean, by the left-wingest cable network that there is, you'd think that, she could handle a softball question like that, and she couldn't. Because the truth is, there isn't any big difference between the Democratic Party and socialism anymore.
Yeah, they just weren't prepared to come out and just open the closet door wide open on that topic. Mm-hmm. Ed, you touched on something I think that was, and I think a bit of a portent here in terms of the old school ideals of the Democratic Party going out the door. And I think it was on display and exposed greatly with the response to Gloria Steinem and Madeleine Albright. Here you've got two feminist leaders in the era gone by, and they're out there beating the drum, and an old drum and drumstick, and the younger kids just saying, I don't get it.
Yeah, saying, hey, wait a second, what do you mean there's a special place in hell if a woman doesn't vote for a woman? What is that about? Right. These young women don't believe that anymore. They don't think that, they don't think they're fighting the same fight that Gloria Steinem fought. That fight has been over with. It's been won. What these women want are opportunities for good jobs, the way men do, a better life for their kids, the way men do. I mean, it's ridiculous that these people are stuck in the past. Hillary's stuck in the past, and Bernie is stuck in the 1930s.
Right.
So I mean, this is a huge opportunity for the Republican Party to take the White House, the Senate, and the House. Now, are they going to blow it? That's the big question.
Well, kind of ironic that you got a 73-year-old senator leading the parade of young people.
Yeah, exactly.
Who would have thought, right?
Well, I don't agree with anything that comes out of Bernie Sanders' mouth at all. However, I do believe he means what he says and says what he means, that he's authentic, that this guy is not putting on a show. But when Hillary opens her mouth, I don't believe a word that comes out of it.
Exactly. Well, I was talking with Brendan Brenelon from the National Review earlier, Ed, and said that, what I see between Sanders and Trump particularly is this anti-establishment sentiment represented by the Democrats with Sanders and with Trump for the Republicans. And you could add other people on the Republican side as well. But just the bookends. In terms of this anti-establishment sentiment that is pervasive throughout our country. They just don't want more of the same.
That's right. Well, and for darn good reason. I mean, after 7.5 years of Barack Obama, the economy has not, despite, the so-called 4.9% unemployment rate. The fact of the matter is it's much more like 12% unemployed.
Exactly.
And we're going down the tubes in foreign affairs as well. I mean, America is concerned about its future, and that's why you get these anti-establishment candidates.
Is Bloomberg in or not?
He is dying to get in, and I know this for a fact. And he will get in if there's the slightest opening. If it looks like Hillary's going down in flames, Bernie's rising, Donald Trump is rising, I think Bloomberg will definitely get in.
Ed Klein, author of Unlikable, The Problems with Hillary. Ed, as always, an honor and pleasure to have you on with us. This is Bill Martinez. We're live 3 minutes before the top of the hour. Stay right where you are. We've got more coming up right after this.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common-sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.
Hi there, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, and we're looking in this time of terrible financial crash, terrible meltdown of the medical system, we're looking to pay people obscene amounts of money if you become a student of our business at Youngevity. We will help you actually take care of people better than the medical system has. Think about it. We spend more money in America for healthcare than all the other 218 nations the world put together, and they can't even solve weight loss problems. I mean, the medical system have a total mental brain fart, and if you do this, you will be able to save an enormous amount of people from being overweight, being obese. They don't even know what causes obesity. Believe me, we know what causes obesity. In the medical system, they think it's from eating too much. It's not from eating too much. It's actually a mineral deficiency.
No.
Deficiency anemia with a bone marrow transplant? That's what they
think.
Do you solve a mineral deficiency that causes obesity with
it was
gastric
just what
bypass?
you were hearing.
That's dumber than a stump. Contact us at gcnminerals.com. Learn how to lose weight, look good, and
he
save
did.
yourselves
It seems like it's fixed. So yeah. All right, here we go.
You're listening to GCN, the world leader in independent talk radio.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Bill Martinez Live, a program about current events, our culture, our values, our politics, and our future. And now, Bill Martinez.
We better stop. Hey, what's that sound? But I thought a lot about it, Rachel, because when you think back, I emerged on the national scene in 1992. And I have been under relentless attack ever since. Now, just read behavioral science, read psychology. Even when all the attacks prove to be unfounded, untrue, it leaves a residue, right? People say, well, why is she being attacked so much? There must be something there. So I get through the 90s. I run for the Senate. Same thing happens. I work. I gain the trust and the votes of the people of New York. When I run again, I get an even larger percentage of the vote. So people who see me in action, people who count on me, people who know that if I tell you something I intend to do, I will do everything in my power to make that happen. And then President-elect Obama turns around after that hard-fought campaign with all sorts of accusations flying around, says, I trust you. I want you to be my Secretary of State. And when I'm holding office, I get along well with Republicans. I will always have the right-wingers who are never going to give up on trying to, push me down and push me out. They view me as a threat, and I accept that. But when I get to work with people, we get things done, and that's been my pattern. So when I get that question, and I ask people, I say, well, what is it you are really reacting to? Very often they don't know, but then a lot of them will say, well, Benghazi. I'll say, okay, Benghazi. Did you know there were 9 separate investigations, 8 of them independent, one of them clearly partisan, admittedly to try to bring me down politically. And they all reached the same conclusion. There were things we could have and should have done better, and I immediately said we would. I testified for 11 hours. I answered every question, but it's still on the TV. I still hear people talking about it. I said, I can't stop them from talking about it. I can only tell you what the facts are, and I can only tell you that in the last, 36, 7 years, we've had terrorist problems in Iran, in Lebanon, in Kenya, in Tanzania, in New York, and yes, in Benghazi. None of them were ever politicized. We lost 258 Marines and embassy personnel in Beirut. Democrats didn't stand up and go after the Secretary of State. We lost people in Kenya and Tanzania, 12 Americans, hundreds of Africans. Madeleine Albright was Secretary of State. She forthrightly asked for a report. She made it public. People didn't turn it into a partisan attack.
Well, and shortly after that, the Hug Fest began.
Yeah.
And, which is still shocking people. I mean, I can't wait for Megyn Kelly to, get behind, her table and go up and hug the Donald. What do you think?
Well, she said something in there as well, to where she said all these other events weren't politicized, and that's also false. The World Trade Center bombing, that was highly. That's why Bush won. People felt like he would be a better leader during this time. So that's why he won. So that, obviously that was, I was highly politicized. The other thing is that a lot of those events, the person didn't come out and try and run for something right away. The person that could be held directly responsible for an event, they tried to stay away from the limelight after that, and she has decided to throw herself right into it.
Yeah, and what makes it all difficult, and I've maintained, is that there's something that's rather healing about the truth. And when you know the truth, you don't have to ask a whole lot of questions. Honey, did you eat that cookie? No, Mom, I didn't eat the cookie. Well, no, it looks like you ate the cookie because you got crumbs. Well, okay, yeah, I ate the cookie. Well, you know what happens. The question is satisfied with a truthful answer. Sometimes it takes a little bit more time than others. The reason that this won't go away and get resolved is because we're still mired in this web of deception. That's why it won't go away. That's the bottom line. Well, stay with us, America. We've got more coming up. This is Bill Martinez. We're live.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common-sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.
Getting America back on track. Bill Martinez live.
Welcome back, America. 6 minutes after the top of the hour on this chocolate day. Did you know that? Kind of leading us up and, kind of breaking the ice a little bit because Valentine's Day, Valentine's Day. Hope you got your reservations if you're a Valentine's Day actual activator in terms of trying to go to a restaurant. Learned a long time ago it's better to go before or after, and fortunately she understands, because, Valentine's Day is just absolute insanity. I mean, yes, we got a reservation for you at 9 o'clock at night, but it's 9 o'clock at night, But, hey, today's chocolate day, so you can get a jump on it. This will help you out. We're here to, we're on your side, guys. We want to do what we can to make this the best Valentine's Day you've ever had before. With us right now, Neil Monroe, speaking of which, Mr. Valentine's Day himself, former White House correspondent for the Daily Caller and Washington, D.C. political reporter for Breitbart.com. Neil, how you doing, buddy? Good to hear from you.
Excellent. Things are very exciting, very dramatic these days, and I live on drama.
Yeah, I know. Okay, and there's no lack of it. That's for sure.
Keep me awake 23 hours a day writing this stuff.
Yeah, it is a drama-rich environment, no doubt, with New Hampshire well underway. And your latest article, I want to talk to you about Marco Rubio, a Democratic ally, says that he was duped in that amnesty deal with a Gang of Eight. Tell us about that.
Well, Marco is an ambitious young man. He's running for the presidency, and the past is catching up with him. A lot of politicians run promising the voters one thing while fully intending to do something different for their donors. And it looks like Marco is one of those politicians. And he ran in 2010 saying no amnesty. And he was reduced in one of the recent debates when he was asked about his 2013 bill to provide an amnesty. It was actually much worse than that. But he said, well, what I really meant was no blanket amnesty. Well, if politicians are going to modify their promises afterwards, you have no control over them. So there's a lot of people in the party, a lot of Republican leaders who just have dismissed him. I mean, think of it this way. If young Marco, when he had ran for Senate in 2010, saying no amnesty, had stuck to his promise in 2013 and told the Democrats and the Republicans and the donors there will be no amnesty until we fix the border problem, until wages go up, GOP voters would love the guy.
Exactly.
He'd be well on his way to the presidency.
Right.
He just blew his career by.
Well, and Neil, and I don't know if you saw that interview with Univision with Ramos, and basically it supports what you said. And so it's like, I don't know what he was thinking, that here he's doing an interview. Does he think that, the English market is not going to see what he said to the Spanish market?
Ridiculous. And in Spanish, in the end, it's insane to think that Hispanics, Latinos, Asians, whatever, will say, "Oh, I'd be better off. Somebody else's cousin comes over the border and drives down my salary." It's a mad, lunatic proposal. The obvious thing that people want to hear is, well, you and your brother are in. You and yours have been around for generations. We're going to stop flooding the labor market with people every year so your salaries can go up. Most people had no idea the scale of immigration. 4 million Americans turn 18 every year, and the government brings in 1 million more. Obama managed to bring in 2 million in 2013. So what's it mean? It means for the 4 American teenagers down the street, turn 18, they go looking for jobs, and what do they face? Another person arrives and says, "Hey, I want the job too." So of course they get paid less. Of course salaries are flat nationally. In addition, welfare costs are going up. Schools are getting clogged, et cetera, et cetera. There's a school in Maryland where it had 1,500 students 3 years ago, 2,400, including 900 students who are migrants. They don't speak English. Their math is terrible. The whole school is built around the new migrant kids, not concerned on priorities of Americans. Of course Americans say, "Stop this.
Yeah,
we want to fix ourselves."
And how does Common Core work in that kind of environment, Neil?
Terrible. And then what did Marco do? Marco looks at this. He doesn't understand. I have a good reason. I have no reason to believe he understands what's going on. He looks at this and says, "Hey, the donors want more." And the donors always want more migrants, because not only they are cheap workers, they're great customers. Think of, let's say you get 85,000 migrants from the Middle East. Well, when they arrive here, they don't speak a lick of English. They have no academic credentials worth counting. I mean, none. But they eat. They buy furniture. They buy cars. And what do they buy it with? Welfare money, taxpayer welfare money. So every year you add 1 million new customers to the nation. The vast majority of them are spending taxpayer money at shops and stores and restaurants. And so, of course, business likes migrants. It's great for them. That's one reason why stock market's been doing so well, even while wages are flat. And yet Marco couldn't see this. How come Marco couldn't see this? And so he says no amnesty in 2010, and he says maximum amnesty, more than ever, cheap in 2013. And the voters saying no, thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, what is he seeing that we're not seeing here?
I think he sees politicians travel in limited circles. They're just surrounded by donors and friends and lobbyists. And many lobbyists, by the way, are their former friends. So Marco's been he's in Florida growing up. The people who knew him growing up get jobs as lobbyists to nudge you and pull him one way or the other. It's like Ben Carson. Ben Carson's a great brain surgeon, right? So he jumps into politics. What does he know about immigration? Only what his friends tell him.
Right.
And what his friends tell him are precisely what wealthy donors want him to be told.
It's kind of like the Pope. What does he know about global warming? Only what his close friends are telling him.
Right, and it's very, very difficult for politicians to escape from this. And the good ones do. But apparently we suffer from a lack of skilled politicians in this country, and Marco is a huge example. That doesn't mean, by the way, he has zero support. You can see lots of people who don't care about the labour issue, the immigration issue, kind of like him. He's young, he looks handsome. And so, 10, 20% support's not impossible. And he'll do well among donors and wealthy people who want to be nice to foreigners instead of Americans. So they get a decent level of support. But if he wanted to be president, he should have looked at donors in the eye in 2012 and said, not a chance. I ain't doing what you want me to do, political suicide in 2013.
Right. Well, at some point, Neil, with all these politicians, they have to know when to fall on their sword, what they're going to stand for, like what Ronald Reagan went through. Neil Monroe has been with us. Neil, is always good to have you with us. This is Bill Martinez. We're live 14 minutes after the top of the hour right now.
How important is it for you to take your medications at the right time of day? Very important, according to today's AARP Health Tip. More after this.
Looking to save money on Medicare Part D? Switch your prescriptions to Walgreens. With copays as low as $1, you could be looking at some real savings. And now you can preview the cost of your scripts before you fill with Walgreens' new Medicare prescription copay quote. And that's kind of a big deal. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Quote subject to change and available only for select Part D plans. $1 copay appliance to Tier 1 generics.
Some drugs are best used in the morning. Others should be taken in the evening or right before going to bed. There's a science to timing drugs to achieve the greatest benefit with the lowest risk of unpleasant side effects. It's called drug chronotherapy. So never change the timing of your drugs without first discussing it with your doctor or pharmacist. For more, go to aarp.org.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Mineral Doctor. You've heard me talk about 90 for Life for years. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids. You may not know this, that I've actually designed Arthrodex for animals. That's right. Your pets need 90 for Life, too. Get this essential pet product by calling 877-279-9422. That's 877-279-9422. Again, 877-279-9422.
Ted Anderson telling you about Jordan Rubin's Beyond Organic Green-Fed Raw Cheddar Artesian Cheese featuring whole milk created through ancient dairy breeding, unpasteurized, untreated whole milk on the same farm the cows graze, containing natural sources of omega-3s, CLA protein, calcium, probiotics, and enzymes. I have never tasted cheese this good, and you need to try it. Contact your Longevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. There's no reason why you shouldn't live to be at least 100 and have a great time getting there. And I'm going to give you a free copy of my lecture that tells you exactly how to do it. In fact, after you've lived a long and healthy life, there should be only 2 documents in your medical chart, a birth certificate and a death certificate. I'm Dr. Wallach with a warning. If you have a 4-inch medical chart, if you take prescription drugs for high cholesterol, high blood pressure, arthritis, joint pains, and other health issues, the medical profession is failing you. They're using you for an ATM machine. My free lecture is going to reveal what pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know. There's been groundbreaking research and discoveries on how to effectively treat or eliminate over 900 different diseases naturally, and it's all in my free lecture called Deadly Recipe. So call toll-free 1-855-79-YOUNG. Again, that's toll-free 1-855-79-YOUNG. 1-855-79-YOUNG.
Removing bad taste and odor from your drinking water is easy. Removing the bad stuff you don't taste is what ProPure does best. Water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure countertop, inline gravity, and household water filtration products. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or call 800-544-3533.
You've reached Bill Martinez Live.
All of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections.
Bill Martinez Live.
All to me.
I just, I love this song. I mean, talk about your perfect imperfections. I mean, isn't that kind of like what Valentine's Day is all about a little bit, is that, you stop and you admire the one that your heart is toward, and their perfect imperfections. That is just so cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I like that sentiment, don't you? It's just about 19 minutes after top of the hour, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Chocolate Day, and it's only fitting because our next guest, you can't believe the dream job that she's living. I mean, this is something that she's dreamed about all her life, and she found just the right thing. I always say that our highest aspiration is that we would be a round peg in a round hole. In other words, the giftings and talents that we've been blessed with are just perfectly fit into a work environment where we can have a lot of fun, continue to grow, and experience all kinds of good things. And Maya Warren, you might remember that name. Where have I heard Maya Warren before? Well, she was a big winner on The Amazing Race, CBS television show. And she is now, as I say, living the dream job. I affectionately refer to her, I should say confectionately refer to her as Dr. Ice Cream. I hope that's okay. Maya Warren, welcome to Bill Martinez Live. How are you?
I'm great, Bill. I love it. Confectionately refer to her as Dr. Ice Cream.
Okay, you can write that down. Tell your publicist they can run with that all they want. I just, as I was reading about, you're involved. Of course, Maya is the lead food scientist and taste master for Cold Stone Creamery. That's what I'm telling you. And ice cream is something that you've loved all your life, and you just thought, wow, if I could do something with ice cream, and who would have thought? I mean, a PhD. Becoming the lead food scientist for Cold Stone Creamery. That's a perfect job for you, right?
It pretty much is. I mean, I remember being, 6 years old and having a little ice cream maker and sitting on the floor of my parents' home and, basically trying to create what I thought at that time was ice cream, but then being able to take that all the way to have my PhD in food science, specializing in frozen aerated desserts. It's pretty satisfying. And I love to be able to use my scientific expertise to implement things here at Cold Stone and, making new flavors or new types of frozen aerated desserts. And it's really, really, really fun. So it's like a kid in a candy store. So for all those parents out there listening and for kids out there listening, you can do and be anything you want in life.
That's
if I
great.
can research ice cream, you can do what you want to do as well.
Yeah, in the 21st century, who would have thought? I mean, probably telling your parents, as you were growing, I'm going to be a food scientist. Are you going to what?
The approach was actually, I'm gonna be an ice cream scientist, and they're like, you're not gonna be a neurosurgeon or a sports medicine doctor. I'm gonna be an ice cream doctor, basically. And here I am, 6.5 years later, and I've accomplished it, and it's pretty cool. And to be able to, work here at Cold Stone, one of the top ice cream brands, across the world. We're in 26 countries, 1,500 locations. And so, it's a huge, huge brand, and I'm super excited for all that's to come.
Well, today's Chocolate Day around the country. I know you knew that. And people hear about chocolate, and they say, we hear chocolate's good for us. So is that true?
In some ways, chocolate can be good for you, but of course, always, just as everything, in moderation. But definitely in moderation. But there are things that are naturally found in chocolate that can react with our with parts of our brain that can allow, for instance, like blood flow increase, allow us for that that chemical compound dopamine to be able to come out more, and it's sort of a feel-good type thing that occurs in our bodies. And that leaves us wanting more and wanting to be around people that make us feel good. So it's a perfect treat for the Valentine's Day season, and it's all in moderation, and it's not going to get you, complete, like it's not going to give you like the euphoric bliss like after running a marathon or anything, but it's just enough to make you feel good inside. And here at Cold Stone, we have the True Love promotion going on right now, where we combine something like chocolate that makes you feel good with the one and only ice cream. I mean, who doesn't love ice cream? When you combine those two things together, it's literally like a perfect marriage, especially for Valentine's Day season.
And this will lead up. I mean, this is something that will lead up to Valentine's Day. We were talking earlier about the crowds at restaurants, how difficult it is to get into a restaurant for Valentine's Day. And I've talked my wife into accepting the day before, a day after, and she's cool about that. So that's great. Mm-hmm. But there's things you can do before then. And hey, Cold Stone Creamery, go enjoy a special Valentine's confection there, and kind of lead up to it. Just make it like the 7 days of Valentine's Day.
Oh, definitely. And we have a ton to offer in our True Love promotion. I encourage everyone to go to coldstonecreamery.com and find out more about what we have. But we have a fudge truffle ice cream. We have a falling in chocolate creation. You can even order online ordering of our fudge truffle decadence cake. It's an ice cream cake that's made by hand in each of the stores that we have across the country. Or if you want ice cream cupcakes to share with the whole family, we have Truffles Are Forever ice cream cupcakes. And then say you don't really want the ice cream or the cake, you just kind of want that extra boost of coffee, we have frappes. We have a fudge truffle frappe that is for, everyone to enjoy as well. But the falling in chocolate creation contains that fudge truffle ice cream that is literally like triple chocolate goodness. I mean, it contains chocolate ice cream, fudge, and then we add cocoa powder to it, so it's just chocolate on chocolate on chocolate. But the creation, Cold Stone itself is known for the creations that we have, that we make right on the stone right in front of everyone's eyes. And so you can have a creation, especially for you and your loved one on Valentine's Day, that has chocolate truffle ice cream in it, the fudge truffle ice cream, and then we add even more fudge to that, whipped topping, and a brownie. And we mix it all up, and you can get it in the like it, love it, gotta have it sizes, and share it with your loved one. Eat it all for yourself. You can do whatever you want. But Cold Stone pretty much across the board has exactly what you need for this Valentine's Day. So don't worry about the expensive jewelry or going to the crowded restaurants. Just head over to your local Cold Stone Creamery. Find one near you by going to coldstonecreamery.com and literally enjoy the sweetness of ice cream and chocolate.
Oh, way to go, Maya. You just chased Shane out the door. He's heading out the door to Cold Stone.
Awesome. Go.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, I've got to stay close to the microphone here so we can keep this going. But what great ideas. Maya, real quick here, we got about a minute left. Tell us about your new role with Cold Stone Creamery. I understand it's changing a little bit.
Definitely. So I just graduated with my PhD back in the fall from University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I signed on with Cold Stone to be the lead in R&D as well as the taste master. And within that, I'm able to use my technical expertise to bring to do innovation, create new products, new flavors, and also serve as the face of Cold Stone and represent Cold Stone Creamery brand. And it's really a lot of fun being able to see a product go from an idea in one's head to then in the consumer's palates. I mean, it's really, really, really cool to be a food scientist, and I literally love what I do every day. I believe in loving and doing what you love and loving what you do. And for me, ice cream is that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's a perfect fit for you, as we were talking about. Let's, if we can, let's go back a little bit on Amazing Race. What a great opportunity for you to be able to participate in the Amazing Race and to win. What was the big takeaway for you from that experience?
The biggest takeaway of the Amazing Race for me was you never know the impact that you're going to have on somebody. And when people watched us around the world, literally on their television sets on Friday nights, we would get tweets and emails from people saying how much of an encouragement we were for them and how now they aspire to be food scientists. And so it was a really, really, really cool opportunity and something that I'll cherish forever. Dream of a lifetime. If you want to do something, literally reach for the stars, jump over the moon. You never know till you try.
Yeah, and who would have thought something like this? I have some dear friends. They actually won the first Amazing Race, Kim and Chip McAllister. And, boy, it was quite an ordeal, and we had a fun visit with them going down memory lane with their experience. But, ladies and gentlemen, Maya Warren, yes, she is Dr. Ice Cream on Bill Martinez. Thank you, Maya.
The experts at Web.com want to build your business a successful website for free, just like we did for these current Web.com customers.
We've used and looked at other website designers, but there's nobody better than Web.com.
Web.com can build your website in as little as 7 days free. Plus, we'll promote it on all the major search engines like Google, Yahoo, and Bing. If after 30 days you're happy, we'll continue to provide promotion, hosting, support, and maintenance, all for one low monthly fee. If not, cancel and pay nothing.
If you're in business today and you don't have a web presence, you won't be taken seriously.
Call right now and you'll also get a free .com or .net domain name for your new website powered by VeriSign, the world's leading domain name provider.
Call 800-765-1480 or go to web.com/radio. That's 800-765-1480.
No upfront charge for site build, after which ongoing fees apply. Rights to site are relinquished when canceled. Domain included during active service, after which fees apply.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook. Supernatural Silver.
My dad was 59 when he collapsed from a heart attack late last year. Just this past August was when we spread his ashes on the St. Croix River. I loved my dad, but boy was he stubborn. He hadn't been to the doctor in over 25 years. His excuse? He simply couldn't afford it. He wasn't a rich man by any means. At less than $107 per month, LibertyOnCall.org would have been the perfect alternative for my father. Don't wait. Go to LibertyOnCall.org right now, for not just your sake, but for the sake of your loved ones. Again, that's LibertyOnCall.org.
You're listening to Bill Martinez Live.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Join us online at BillMartinezLive.com.
Hey, you can join us online on your smartphone, your local radio station. We're in over 270 markets across the United States and around the world via shortwave on Bill Martinez Live. It's just about 28 minutes before the top of the hour. Welcome back, America. We go from Dr. Ice Cream to a professor of anthropology at Colorado State to talk about something rather serious here. And this is a consideration that stopped me in my tracks. First of all, 22 million people have been displaced by natural disasters yearly, and that's number one. The chances of being uprooted by a force of nature is 60% higher today than it was in the 1970s. And as I said, more than 22 million people around the world have been displaced from their homes each year since 2008 due to natural disasters. And this was reported in the Atlantic. And so the question is, with natural disasters becoming all too common, what should we do about it? Well, Dr. Catherine Brown is with us. She is that professor of anthropology at Colorado State University I was referring to earlier. Dr. Catherine Brown, welcome to Bill Martinez Live. How are you?
I'm great, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Well, this is an important topic. I think there's a lot to be said. For quite a while, at least I can remember, that people, you had the preppers, idea and the concept coming out. And
right.
People initially poo-pooed them and thought, well, they might as well have tin foil on their head. What are they preparing for? And
That's right.
but then you see reality, and and for you did a rather ardent study following Katrina, and you followed a community for 8 years or so. You documented them, and
that's right. It's about 8.5 years total.
And so you saw what happened, but I think people around the world got a real microscopic understanding of what a natural disaster would do to a community when we saw those pictures in New Orleans of people, holed up in that in that arena, and within a matter of days, boy, it just turned into a ghetto real fast. It was a mess.
Oh, it was indescribable, unthinkable in this country. And to add to your statistics that you mentioned at the opening, I can also tell you that something around 215 million people are affected by a disaster. So that's not those displaced, that's not those that have died, but if you think about the numbers of people who are impacted in some way by a disaster, that is a staggering number. And so we really have, I think, marshaled a lot of support for the kinds of things that happen on the front end, like mitigation, and the lessons learned from Katrina have told us we've got to do something to mitigate all this risk.
Exactly.
And and prepare better. But my emphasis is on what happens afterwards, because no matter what we do in terms of the technology to mitigate, like building better buildings or more effective levees,
right.
We have to recognize that this is going to happen to a lot of people, no matter how much we invest on the front end, which is of course very important, but it's not the whole picture, and I think there's a lot less attention on the backside, and that's where I'm focused.
Well, and on the backside, that's when reality hits, because then you realize, like those people in New Orleans standing on top of the building saying, we want water. And they're looking for the government to bring them water, and the government couldn't get there fast enough.
No, they couldn't. It was, in some cases 4 to 5 days before people saw anybody from the outside offering help. So it was just a staggering blow to faith in in the system, where people were, I think, accustomed to thinking that if something like this happened, there would be help immediately. And there's the National Guard. There's FEMA is supposedly ready for this kind of thing. They had done an exercise called Hurricane Pam the very year before, anticipating exactly what the dimensions of tragedy and loss and wreckage would be with this kind of hurricane. And in spite of that 7-day exercise in the New Orleans area, none of that ended up helping.
Yeah, so, how serious can you take it when it's really, you're there, you go to the grocery store, there's always food there on the shelves, and it's kind of hard. I would think, Catherine, that people in third world country would probably fare better than we would, because they know how to rely on nature. They're not relying on some outside agent to take care of them.
It's absolutely true, Bill. People are more, in many ways, more self-reliant because they don't have the help of a system that's a developed system that we then become, a little bit relaxed because we know that that's there, that there's a helping hand, and the helping hand should have been there. And in many ways, the disaster response was a complete failure, and I think that's widely acknowledged. But what I'm focused on is really what happens after that immediate, is that what we call the response phase or the relief phase, where all kinds of groups and government help is supposed to come in and be there to supply aid and food and shelter. But even after that initial few weeks, there's a process that's almost a black box. We don't know very much at all about the recovery process because it takes so long for people to get back on their feet, and we don't invest in that kind of research because, frankly, it's expensive and it's very time consuming, and it's also hard. It's hard to study people who, are suffering and people who look like you and me.
Yeah.
So that's I think there are a lot of reasons why we don't know much about that long slog back.
Right.
But that's what I'm focused on.
Exactly. Okay, so here it is. You've been studying this, for a number of years since Katrina. And is there like a 1, 2, 3? I'm an 80-20 principle, Pareto principle kind of guy, feeling that there's 20% that gives you 80% of the yield. So I always look to those, maybe top 3 things that you can do on the other side, on recovery as an individual, because yes, you would hope the government, hope that these outside agencies would be there, but what if they're not?
Well, I think that we have to assume that in a country like ours, they will be there. Partly, I think it's really important to make clear that in this case, this, we call it a natural disaster, but disaster scholars have really dispensed with that term because the thing that's natural is the hazard, the hurricane, the earthquake, the tornado, the flood, whatever. But it's not natural in the sense that when it damages human communities, it's not natural because human communities are in the path, and so more and more people on the planet moving into higher and higher risk areas, and combined with problems associated with climate change, you've just got a lot of variables that are conspiring to create disasters that are in many regards have to be recognized as human induced, and so I would say for those 3 things, one important point is to recognize that people do deserve help because in this case the fact that the levees failed, and one of the less well-known factors that also contributed to the immense devastation of Katrina was the coastal land loss. The coastal land loss was, we're talking about 90, over the last 70 years, you have a loss of like 2,000 square miles on the coastal areas of Louisiana. That's all human-induced change.
Exactly. Dr. Brown, we only got about 30 seconds left here. So, okay. So where can people go for more information? Because obviously this is so comprehensive, and your study has been so involved. There is a lot to understand and get from you that we're just not able to do here in about 10 minutes. So where can they go for more information?
They can go to my Facebook page for the book, which is Standing in the Need Book.
Okay.
And they can also go to my website, katebrown.colostate.edu. I think if I could just say one thing, my primary focus is on the cultural gaps between the recovery groups that come.
Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas, is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
How important is it for you to take your medications at the right time of day? Very important, according to today's AARP Health Tip. More after this.
Looking to save money on Medicare Part D? Switch your prescriptions to Walgreens. With copays as low as $1, you could be looking at some real savings. And now you can preview the cost of your scripts before you fill with Walgreens' new Medicare prescription copay quote. And that's kind of a big deal. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy. Quote subject to change and available only for select Part D plans. $1 copay appliance to Tier 1 generics.
Some drugs are best used in the morning. Others should be taken in the evening or right before going to bed. There's a science to timing drugs to achieve the greatest benefit with the lowest risk of unpleasant side effects. It's called drug chronotherapy. So never change the timing of your drugs without first discussing it with your doctor or pharmacist. For more, go to aarp.org.
Today, more than ever, it's imperative that you protect your digital privacy. EDEC Digital Forensics, Signal Blocking, Anti-Radiation, Anti-Surveillance Faraday Bags shield the contents of your phones, tablets, and key fobs from 4G, Wi-Fi, GPS, Bluetooth, NFC, and more. Find us at edecdf.com/radio or call us now at 805-222-4584. That's 805-222-4584. Radio listeners get 20% off your order.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Winter has just begun, and are you already tired of being cold? How would you like to never be cold again? This is Dale with Fortress Clothing, and I'm here to tell you, you will never be cold again with Fortress. If you're tired of freezing your butt off, elk hunting, sitting in a tree stand deer hunting, winter camping, fishing, ice fishing, no longer fear the cold. If you snowmobile, ski, snowboard, get Fortress. Sledding with the kids, shoveling the walks, shopping, or if you or your spouse get cold feet at home, get Fortress. If you're stuck outside working in the cold or find yourself in an emergency situation, get our winter bug-out bag and you will never be cold again. Fortress is the answer, so quit complaining and go to fortressclothing.com. It's a mid-layer garment that goes with anything you want to wear. Enter coupon code RADIO and get 20% off any item. Go now while we still have inventory. FortressClothing.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest price filtration systems in every size for incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency. Get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
You've reached Bill Martinez Live. Bill Martinez Live.
And we're back with you, America, 14 minutes before the top of the hour. For more information on the show, BillMartinezLive.com. We come to you Monday through Friday from 9 to 11 Eastern. Thank you for being part of the solution to get this country back on track. It's going to be a bottom-up movement if it's going to happen, not top-down. Top-down is what got us into the mess to begin with. Our founding fathers always said it was going to be based on the grassroots, and I sense the grassroots is moving. It is moving and collecting momentum, and I am optimistic, I will tell you, about us being able to be effective in getting this country back on track. So thanks for being a part of the solution. By the way, I apologize to you that we had to, kind of cut the conversation with Dr. Catherine Brown. I know that you were, it's fascinating stuff, all the work that she did. And I do want to make sure that you got her website, which will be linked on our website as well. But just in case, Kate Brown, and that's with an E, BROWNE, KateBrown.Colo State for Colorado State. So Colo, COLO State.edu. That is her website for more information. Good stuff and really fascinating to see what's happening, in terms of preparation that is going to be needed, especially with these natural disasters, the way they're breaking out. Speaking of natural disasters, what a nice segue into Horace Cooper. Not that Horace Cooper is one, but you might have said that the halftime show of the Super Bowl could be regarded as one. Horace is an adjunct fellow with the National Center for Public Policy Research, co-chair of the Project 21 National Advisory Board, and a legal commentator. Horace, always good to have you with us. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on the program.
Hey, I'll tell you, people are revved up. after Beyonce's expose at the Super Bowl and her song, Red Lobster kind of liked it. I guess business went up for them, but she got a lot of kickback, and people are talking about a Beyonce boycott.
Yeah, so some of your listeners know this, but probably others don't. If they were watching the halftime show, it suddenly kind of turned bizarre. And it turned bizarre because there was an intention to insult the American people by presenting an agenda that was divisive, that was narrow, and that really had no place in this forum. Frankly, maybe at a Bernie Sanders rally or some campus event where only the pot smokers are invited to come in, this might have looked a little bit more in place. She decided to take her time and make it a divisive black only, specifically saying to the participants and the organizers of the event that none of the other dancers in her group could be white, and to dress up in a way that signaled solidarity with the Black Panthers movement, Malcolm X, and this phony movement called Black Lives Matter that is based on a lie about the Michael Brown shooting. Right. She decided that this event that all of America and the rest of the world tunes into to see some aspect about America, she decided, let's go with this divisive message that really distorts who we are as a people. Now, what I find ironic is this hasn't been getting the coverage that it should. It absolutely should be getting more coverage.
Well, I think part of the thing, Horace, might be because the audio was so bungled. I mean, I didn't understand Coldplay. Maybe a word I was lucky to understand Beyonce, but you're right. I mean, her presentation was very aggressive, and when you understood what it was that she was presenting, and especially if you haven't seen the video and you look at the video and you go, oh, that's what she was saying. But I got to imagine,
Black Power salutes.
Yes.
I mean, this isn't like some casual, let's do something to shake things up. Someone had found the time to make a poster that they actually brought out onto the set in front of the camera, Justice for Mario Woods, an investigation that's taking place over a man who was killed in San Francisco by police officers. Whatever her particular concerns and motivations may be, this is not that forum. And what I was going to say is the media has given way more attention to Manning's comment that he gave God the glory and he was going to go and drink some Budweiser. Who paid for that, they wanted to know. Right. And why would he bring that in instead of, wait a second, this is America, a country based on In God We Trust. One of the biggest beer producing companies in America, the largest share. You don't have to be a beer drinker to understand that might be something that might be said. He also said he was going to go to Disneyland.
Right.
They put a lot of attention into that scrutiny. What could his message have been? What was he trying to say? And almost nothing into the fact that with this is the second highest viewed Super Bowl in history. And she decided that she was going to do this disgusting attack on who we are as a people, and did it while everyone was watching.
Well, I got to tell you, I was surprised the count actually went up. I thought the count maybe go down for the halftime show because I'm thinking, first of all, the halftime show, 30 minutes. I want to watch the game. I really don't want to see 30 minutes of a halftime show, and especially like this when there's some indoctrination going on. And I'm really surprised because Roger Goodell and the NFL brand, they're real careful about that, but they got hijacked, and I don't even think they know it.
Yeah, I do think you're right. I think you're exactly right. It's not clear that everyone was on board with the agenda. The kinds of things that they were doing, you see, this is the problem often that happens. The artist says, hey, I'm going to do this and this and this, and they give it in pieces, and then when you're watching, which is what I did, my jaw dropped.
Right.
I'm like, wait a second. Are they actually saying this is the Black Power fist bump? Is this really happening on the Super Bowl? And when you make posters, that probably wasn't even something that they showed anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure.
Here's the real question, though, is when they announced that only black women could participate, not Latinos, not Asians, and certainly not whites, she said, why didn't that raise any eyebrows?
Exactly.
Because if
That's
we're
amazing.
going to celebrate America and we're going to do it in a way that tells people who we are, what possible basis could you have for saying, oh, no, they can't?
Yeah.
Now, this is Super Bowl Sunday, right?
Exactly.
If you're going to get the most talented, most amazing group ever, you couldn't have found not one non-black person to participate and that would have met that test of excellence? That's a question that I'd have for the NFL.
Well, they figure they got Coldplay in there, Horace. Horace, the other thing is probably the officials of the NFL. I'm not talking about the ground officials. I'm talking about the executives of the NFL. Goodell and his team probably were happy they didn't see any costume malfunction of any sort. They were probably so focused on that they couldn't see all the other innuendo. And I say innuendo, but for you and other, black Americans look at it, and they got the message loud and clear.
And not only that's true, the man in blue got the message. If you were watching, you saw them suddenly realize what is going on here. Now, these are the folks, remember now, we can't have a Super Bowl or any kind of national events anymore because of the threats of terrorism.
Right.
And so we have to call these men and women, the first responders. They sit there, they screen, they take time out of their day. Sure, it'd be great to be able to, quote, work the Super Bowl, but these men and women, that's actually what they're doing. They have to be at work, and they're not getting to, quote, enjoy the game because they want to make sure that the rest of us can enjoy the game. Those men and women were looking, and suddenly it dawned on them, this is an insult to who we are. Now, how can you call upon these kinds of folks to protect you and then at the same time insult them the way that they did? This was awful. This was embarrassing. And frankly, I think the NFL ought to actually issue an apology.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Horace. Former Mayor Rudy Giuliani blasted Beyonce's halftime performance at the Super Bowl, accusing her of using her platform to attack police officers. Said this is football. This isn't Hollywood. To your point.
Yeah. And it is also a event that is being broadcast to the whole world. Mm-hmm. You can't let people just anymore. I mean, when I was a kid, I've never gone to a Super Bowl game, but when I was a kid, I was able to go to a few NFL games before all of these changes occurred, and you could take your bag, you could take your kid, all kinds of things in. It was a very simple, straightforward affair. We can't have that anymore, and in fact, we can't just rely upon staff to help screen. We actually have to have these men and women in blue do it, and to insult them is to deny the reality that they are the front line. We absolutely ought to have found time to acknowledge them, acknowledge the people in the military who protect us. If we're going to have some statements like involving the police or the military, it ought to have been to acknowledge and convey our gratitude rather than to insult them.
Exactly. Horace Cooper, Adjunct Fellow with the National Center for Public Policy Research, co-chair of the Project 21 National Advisory Board, and a legal commentator. Horace, thank you very much for your insight. Appreciate your perspective as always. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sharing a part of your day with us, for being a part of the solution and not part of the problem. This is a wrap for Bill Martinez Live. We will see you mañana, same time, same place, right here on the STJ Radio Network.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week.
Here's a tale of two students, both working adults. He commutes to college before and after work, carrying all the baggage that goes with it. She goes to Independence University, and Independence University goes with her. It's online, so all she needs is a connection, and anywhere becomes her campus. He's getting a degree, but he's also getting majorly stressed out. She chose Independence University online for a better life offline. Visit independence.edu or call 800-370-1077 today.